Hey, fellow Toastmasters.
You may not be on there. Switch. Switch on the side. There you go.
Let's try again. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Appreciate the response there. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we have an inspiration today from Sylvia. Thanks for stepping up. Get us motivated today.
There we go. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thoughts, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Yeah, we'll do that. Oh, Sylvia's going to do the word too since she's already up here.
One more thing before the pledge. Observance, a noun, action, a practice of fulfilling or respecting requirements of law, morality, or ritual. Observance, please use it in table topics. Thank you.
And as much as you can throughout the meeting today, if all could rise, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do's are due. Since Beth is not here, I will be a substitute in observance of our requirements. Sylvia, you hear that? Needs the word. In observance of our requirements for the Distinguished Toastmaster program. We want to make sure we're a distinguished club, so get the dues in so we can check that box today. I'd like to introduce our Toastmaster, Jill Roy. Jill.
Why, thank you, Mr. President. When I signed up to be Toastmaster today, Steve said to me, what are you going to do for your theme? And it took me a few minutes and I decided, well, shoot, I'll just get on the computer and see what national day it is. There's something interesting I can talk about. So I got online and I did some looking. And before I tell you any more about my looking, let's go through some roles. Let's see, Sylvia's already been up. Is Nancy Rose on? No, not yet. We might have some housekeeping to do. And is Ryan on? No. We're in trouble. We might be in trouble here. How about our tech and gesture master, Dave? Oh, okay.
I want to make a deal. I will do my best to stare at the camera instead of down at the monitor. If you do your best to hold your applause until you see the person coming up in the shot, I think that has more continuity to it. And I want to remind you all that we are observing Dave Licata Day all day on Spectrum News. They're going to do a story about a long-time season ticket holder and show off all my memorabilia, and that will be running throughout the day. So I'm finally getting recognized for 48 years of frustration and tearing my hair out. But it's my job. We're gonna report on your gestures and how clever you are with this Zoom thing. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dave. Our timer is Kate Orr. I know you're there online.
I am. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Toastmaster. Thanks for jumping in and volunteering for this role. I will be as observant as possible, and I will demonstrate, since Len so kindly pinned my screen, I will demonstrate for anybody speaking today. That means our table topics participants, our speakers, and our evaluators. I will be changing the back of my screen based on the timing. For example, speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. The icebreaker is anytime, but recommended 4 to 6. So for example, at the 4-minute mark, I would change my background to green. At the 5-minute mark, I will change my background to yellow. And at the 6-minute mark, I'll change my background to red. There's a 30-second buffer on either end, which means you can go under by 30 seconds or over by 30 seconds. For table topics and evaluators, I think it's 15 seconds, but I'll look again before I get to that portion. It might be 30 seconds for evaluators as well. And that is my role today, Madam Toastmaster.
And yes, Kate, it is 30 seconds for evaluators.
Thank you.
Okay.
You think 15 years I'd know what I'm doing?
You think so, but you know, you're busy for the next 2 weeks, so. All right, our quiz master, Mike Florio, is online. Mike.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I will be observing the meeting and coming up with some questions to quiz your knowledge and your listening skills at the end of the meeting. So thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to do some housekeeping right now. It appears we need an master and grammarian, as Nancy Rose and Ryan Flora have not showed up. Ah, Nancy is here, yay! Nancy, would you like to explain your role as master?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It was a long ride from Youngstown, a little foggy. So I'm here as a master, and to report on my role, I'm going to be documenting any filler words that you may have that might interrupt the flow of the speech. And this is to help you be aware of that, so you can replace this with pauses to help with the flow and understanding of the speech. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
What wonderful timing, Nancy, thank you. If Ryan does not show up, is there any chance that you could be grammarian as well? Oh, okay. Len will be grammarian. So Len, you want to come up and explain your role since Ryan is not here?
Morning, Toastmasters. My job as grammarian today is to listen for exceptional, good or bad uses of the English language, and I'll report on those at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. We have those two roles covered. We need a joke. Does anybody want to come up with a jest while they're sitting there? I would appreciate it. Who's master? Quote master, yes, quote master, Dr. Gerald.
I overheard Jackie say this is my favorite job, so she is right. So if it's available, I am usually there to be quote master. I always like to share a few inspiring thoughts from other people to get us going for the day. So just one positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. From our most famous quoter unknown. Stay away from those people who try to disparage your ambitions. Small minds will do that, but great minds will give you the feeling you can become great too. This is Len Thornton's favorite person, Mark Twain. Thank you.
Thank you. Our general evaluator is Marty Johnston. So if Marty could make his way up here and tell us about his.
Morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. As general evaluator this morning, my job is to evaluate the Toastmaster and the evaluators and report back at the end of the meeting. And I know that today is a very special day, besides Dave Licata having his debut on Spectrum News. I'm sure you'll inform us of what the other important part of
Eventually that'll
the
come up,
meeting
yeah.
is.
Yeah. Then eventually that'll come up, yeah. Okay, other than Jester, I think I've taken care of all the roles with the exception of Thomas Feldwine is supposed to be evaluating Les Robinson. So is anybody willing to evaluate Les? Don't everybody jump forward at once. Margot, are you available?
I just did his last speech, so
Oh.
it might be better if somebody else, you know,
Okay,
because we need to get other opinions in there.
yes, we do.
That's why I didn't jump in.
Dave? Okay. Maybe Tom will show up. Okay, Les, is that okay if we move you to third speech instead of first? Yes, he's raising his hand, yes. Okay, thank you, Les. With any help, Thomas will show up. Well, back to the National Day of. I got online and I found out that today is International Literacy Day. I hate to say it, but that's not much going to make much of a topic of conversation. It's also National Pediatric Hematology Oncology Nurses Day. While I had, that's your wife? It's Dave's wife. But is she pediatric? Actually, she is now. Okay, wow. Yeah, well, I figured that wasn't much of a conversation piece because it is kind of depressing in a way. It's also World Physical Therapy Day. And while I've probably been to the most physical therapy of anybody here, I'm sure. It's not much to say about. It's also World Ampersand Day. Yeah, why is there a World Ampersand Day? Oh, well, that theory wasn't working too good. So I decided to go to the days before and the days after. Now, tomorrow is National Teddy Bear Day. It's also Wonderful Weirdos Day. Yesterday, tomorrow is also Share Your Care Day. National Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorders Day, another downer. International Sudoku Day. While I enjoy doing the puzzles, I can't imagine there's a day devoted to them. And that's it for tomorrow, as far as the list that I saw. I think sometimes these days of get a little bit ridiculous. Wonderful Weirdos Day. Now, I thought most of these had to be proclaimed in Congress, which are really a kind of a simple thing because it's all somebody goes up to their congressman and says, I want this day, and the congressman writes it up because it's an easy bill for him to say he passed a bill. And everybody else goes along with it. But who would have gone for a wonderful Weirdos Day? Who sponsored that one? With that, I think we will go to our table topics. Nancy Ferry.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Oh, thank you. Welcome, Toastmasters. Here we are, National Day of a lot of weird things, including weirdos. I'm going to ask a few questions, and you have 1 to 3 minutes, is that right? 1.5 to 3 minutes to answer the question. You can answer that one. You can refer to your own. And I am going to start with Margot. Are you there?
Of course.
Okay, there you are.
Sorry, I had to hit the wrong button.
The question is, whoever knew there was a World Ampersand Day? Explain why why you think ampersands came to have a World Day of Recognition. Margot Bittner.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been my observation that there are lots of reasons why people have different days. One of them, quite frankly, is economic. Most days are usually lobbied by some group that wants something declared so they can sell their product. Now, I'm not sure if it was the Typewriters Association that created the Ampersand Day or somebody else. But I myself love to use this as an advertising device because today is actually Charles Ring and Hannah Denelia Ripley Farwell's wedding anniversary, which means all day I'm going to be pushing a couple of wines and inviting people to come in and have a glass of Pear Made in Heaven or Happily Ever After. I know those are such sweet names for wines, aren't they? So as people come in, we will talk more and more about their history and what they contributed not only to this area, but to apple and peach research in general. So Ampersand Day, National Sudoku Day, whatever it is usually designed so that people can sell a product and make a little bit of money. I'm hoping that maybe we can create a National Toastmasters Day. Wouldn't that be a fun one? What's the exact anniversary of our club? Let's create Lockport Toastmasters Day. And I guess that is all I have to say on the subject, and I'm hoping I made time. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Margot. Jackie, you just got settled in. Would you come up and share with us? Today is also National School Picture Day. Please share some memories of School Picture Day. Were there any special preparations? Maybe a fabulous picture remembered, or maybe one that went very wrong? Jackie Kinney.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Oh, the memories of School Picture Day. Oh, it was observed like a national holiday back in the day. And you had curlers in your hair the night before that you had to sleep on. So you had bouncy curls for your picture. I don't remember any particular agony over school pictures, just a general feeling of illness because you knew it was going to be bad. That photographer always managed to snap when your eyes were closed or when you were grimacing, and it never turned out good. Even senior pictures. And back in the day, we all had the fake dress, and we all had to wear Maria Santangelo's cross. So we'd all look alike in the picture. Everyone would be perfectly balanced, and I don't know. I just didn't think it was the best look for anybody. And then you had to pick which one of two poses was the one you wanted for eternity. It was terrible. It was the most difficult, humiliating, and stressful thing that happened to you all through high school. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jackie. Maybe someday you'll share some of those with us. Make a good topic for a speech. And Mike Licata volunteered, even though he has another role. Mike, if you were on the National Day of whatever committee, besides your birthday, what would you want celebrated on your birthday? Let's welcome Mike Licata, and please be sure to use the word of the day, observance.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What day would I want observed on my birthday? That's a great question that really makes me think. Just trying to figure out what can be celebrated in December that isn't already celebrated as a winter month. It's more and more difficult. A National Snow Day would be nice. Just pick a day where everyone gets off from school, everyone gets off from work, and they just kind of do nothing, or they probably would love, actually the retailers would probably love a day like that simply because my birthday is 2 weeks before Christmas. So that would give everyone a day off to go Christmas shopping and everything would get done earlier. So the retailers would probably love it, except so many people end up buying everything online anyway that it really doesn't matter for an entirely full day for something to celebrate. So to observe, or an observance of a National Snow Day in December would probably be a great idea, because it would give a wonderful opportunity for everyone to kind of slow down and then just enjoy a day out during the cold months. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'm going to call for reports. Kate, would you please tell us if our speakers met time?
I sure will, Madam Table Topics Master. All three did. Margot at 1:32, Jackie at 1:59, despite my trigger happy hit to yellow by accident and then back to green again. And then Mike at 1:18. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kate. And Sylvia, right on cue. Could you tell us how the word did today with our three table topic speakers?
Our word did pretty good. Gerald once, David Licata once, Kate once, Mike Florio once, and our three table topics contestants. They used it. Margot once, Jackie once, and I think I heard Mike say it twice, or he repeated it twice. Thank you.
That means all three of our contestants made time and made the word, so they all qualified. Please cast your ballots, and I believe Sylvia will be coming around collecting them. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nancy. Back to my word of the days. I discovered there was a few for yesterday that were probably fun days, and a few that weren't. National New Hampshire Day.
Free or die.
National Grateful Patient Day. Yeah. Hopefully all of Dr. Gerald's patients are grateful after he's done with them. National Grandma Moses Day. World Duchenne Awareness Day. That's a muscular dystrophy. Now, kind of ironic considering the weather yesterday morning. National Neither Snow Nor Rain Day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that kind of sort of go together. If you got an imagination. National Beer Lovers Day. Yeah. National Salami Day. And National Acorn Squash Day. I vow, well, maybe vow isn't the right word. I think we should make today National Buffalo Bills Day. And let's have a toast to that one. No, all we have to do is get a congressman or two to proclaim every day in the fall, National Buffalo Bills Day. Ryan Floor did show up. He is going to evaluate Les Robinson. Ryan, are you ready for your evaluation role?
I am clueless.
You are clueless. Okay.
Just about this, I hope.
All right. Well, Les, if you are okay, we will put you on. And I will introduce you, and Ryan can do his best evaluation with what I tell him. Les is...
I'm sold.
Awesome, okay. Les is doing the motivational strategies path. This is a level 2 introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. He's got a 5 to 7 minute speech. His title is My Experience of Mentoring. Les Robinson, My Experience of Mentoring.
Before I start my speech today, I would like, Margot brought up one good thing. If anybody knows anybody in City Hall or knows anybody in the county, we could make this AM Lockport Toastmaster Day, and we get a little citation. So if anybody knows that, we can do that. So after that, I'm ready to start my speech. My experience as a mentor. Okay. When I first came into Toastmasters, I was recruited by Charlie Deacon and Dave Licata, and today is Dave Licata Day on Spectrum, so I'll give Dave a big applause. I was doing LCTV with Charlie Deacon, and I was in the Optimist Club and Dave Licata. And when I joined Toastmasters, both of them directly and indirectly brought me in to Toastmasters. They both mentored me. They both helped me build a very strong foundation. And that's one of the important things in Toastmasters, is to build a very strong foundation. If you come into Toastmasters and you build a foundation when you do your beginning speeches with good mentors, you can go as high as you want in Toastmasters because you've built a foundation with good mentoring. And that's very, very important. Dave did his things over the years, mentoring me. And before Charlie passed away, he also helped me with mentoring, improving my speeches, making me a better person. When I looked at this speech, and I've been doing this for many years, I looked at this like I did my speech last time. I kind of looked at the review of it and said, I think there's more to this speech that the club can get out of this speech than me just talking about mentoring. And what I looked at it as being in this club for over 10 years, I've gone to many district events. I've been to the state event. I've been the regional or area governor. I've been on the competitions. I visited other clubs. And one thing I will say about our club, AM Lockport, it is an excellent club. they have good people. We have good people in our club. And one of the things is we bring people come in, people leave, but because of the nucleus that we have, we develop good speakers and good leaders, which I think in the big picture helps the entire club. And I think where I'm going with this is what I'm trying to say is that the mentoring that you do in the beginning is a continuation through the whole club. Okay. Now, as being in Toastmasters a very long time, and there's people in the club that have been in here two to three times longer, you may not pick something up every meeting. Okay. But it might be 4 to 5, 6 meetings. Or the other thing is when new speakers come in, they see new techniques. Okay. They're learning not to go or the pregnant pause, but they're doing a new style or a new something that you may take a little piece of and incorporate it into your speeches. Or other speakers that have been doing it for years, you see something, wow, that really impresses me. I like that. So you may take a piece from them. So what I call it is, I believe that mentoring, once you've been in Toastmasters, the day you walk in until the day you leave, I think a mentoring is an ongoing event, and it's a community event because you're using everyone in the group to improve you, okay? To make you a better, more effective leader, effective speaker. It's a win-win across the board. And that's one thing I will say as being in Toastmasters, I have made more money because I'm a better speaker. I also have built my career around doing seminars where I do a 2-hour presentation, and I do 50 to 60 of those a year. And one of the important things, and what they do bring up in Toastmasters and the pause or the master, is I've had guest speakers and they go, and that's a very important thing. No matter what you talk about, I think this is the biggest takeaway from AM Lockport is you don't have your pregnant pauses, you don't have your ahs, your ums. And I think that's one thing that this club really mentors you on, because if you've noticed, if you watch a speaker that comes in, that they may do 10, 15 ahs or ums, by the time they've gone through 3 or 4 speeches and they've done the roles in our club, it has gone from here down here. And I think that's one of the biggest things that this club does mentor on. It makes you a better presenter, and it's a win-win across the board. So going back to mentoring, I think this whole organization helps everybody directly and indirectly to become a better speaker. And I think that's what we all accomplish for. But I think it's a continuation flow where you're always trying to get better, more effective, and achieve a better presentation. But this club always seems to be moving the bar up, because as a collective, as a whole, as a group, I've seen this over the years. I think we as a group get better and better and better. And I think it raises everybody else, because by modeling or being around, you just pick it up and say, hey, I want to be doing this. Or if you listen, or the presentations makes you a better Toastmaster, which is a better leader, a better speaker, a better person. It's a win-win across the board. So thank you very much for my speech.
Thank you, Les. Our second speaker is Gerald Stevens. He's being evaluated by Mike Licata.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Gerald is doing the Connect with Your Audience Level 3 elective in his path. This project focuses on a different audience types and how to address them effectively. The purpose of this project is to practice skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. Madam Timer, the time is 5 to 7 minutes, and you have us told. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Dr. Gerald Stevens is on his way up. His title is Earth's Majesty. Gerald Stevens, Earth's Majesty. If anybody knows anything about that, it's
Move this back. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Len, if you could cue the presentation. Who wants to go on a road trip with me today? Do you see any hands? I see a couple hands. Okay, a lot of hands now. All right. We'll talk about going on a road trip today and what is required to go on a road trip with your crazy Toastmaster, Daryl Stevens. I was talking to a chiropractic colleague of mine. He moved from Washington State all the way to South Carolina. And along the way, he did this massive road trip and he went to all these places. And he said, wow, this country is amazing. It's so beautiful. Earth's Majesty, United States, has a lot of Earth Majesty, beautiful natural things. We decided to do a road trip to Washington. We didn't drive from here. The road trip was actually started in Seattle, so I rented a car. And it was in August. Next slide. In any road trip, it is required, a requirement, to find some good coffee. Washington is well known for their good coffee. You may not know, however, that in the country here, they have walk-up espresso huts. It's the middle of nowhere. They don't have chains necessarily everywhere. You think Tim Hortons is here, we're very spoiled, right? Seattle does have good coffee places. Starbucks originated in Seattle, but they have these espresso. One person, you just walk up and you get your coffee in the middle of nowhere. It's awesome. But if you're with me, you might need a whole truckload of coffee, as you can see here. That is what's going to keep us going. So requirement one, you must be a coffee drinker. Next slide. You must also be ready to accept gigantic, gargantuan things that you might see along the way. You can't be intimidated by these things. This is my wife, Maureen. This tree is huge, huge cedar tree. So in Washington State, they have 3 national parks I went to. One of them is Olympic National Park. It is huge. You drive all the way around it. They have all different climates there. The main place we went, though, was a temperate rainforest. So all kinds of rain they get there and all kinds of tree growth, as you might imagine, gargantuan tree growth. Trees growing on trees. The second picture there is a tree turned sideways that fell over because the roots don't go deep because they don't need to, because they get lots of rain. But other trees will grow on top of those trees as soon as they go down. So they feed into the system. It's pretty wild. The third picture is just little old me with those giant Douglas fir trees just going, what the hell? These things are huge. It's unbelievable. Gargantuan. Let's see how many words I can use for gargantuan in this presentation. Len. Enormous is another synonym. You see me here in the Olympic forest with a devil's club plant. Now I'm about 6 foot tall. And as you can see on my left anyway, that plant is a lot bigger than me. I'm like, how is this possible? These things are huge. The second is a picture of skunk cabbage. Now, I never heard of skunk cabbage. I assume skunks eat skunk cabbage, but I don't really know. Steve does know the answer to this. I do not. So they do not eat it, but it may stink. I don't know. It does stink. I hear a nod here. I see a nod. And from the bottom of the trees, you can look up and see all this moss hanging from them. And you just go, wow, this is enormous. Next slide. Gigantic, another synonym. This is also in the rainforest here. Little hike, maybe a mile that we did. And you see the tree going over the arch there. It's so beautiful. And a gigantic sword fern. So you can see my wife has perspective there. She's not really tall, but literally the fern is taller than me. a sword fern. So they get a lot of rain there. If you like rain, Washington is for you. Len, next slide. Also picturesque. In Olympic National Park, they have these pictures. This is a lodge that was there, and it reminded my wife of the Dirty Dancing movie. She was moved by that. I actually happen to have a few of the songs on my phone, so we played some of those. That was cool. We got a drink, and it's like a picture frame when you look into the window. And that is Crescent Lake. But for me, the layers of the trees is the impressive thing as you go looking out the window. Super impressive. And near one of our hotels, we had this little trail where this shows a little bench at the end of it. That's the end of the trail. It ended in the middle of nowhere. It was called the Tiny Trail. But the Tiny Trail was really cool. So not only do we have ginormous, enormous, and gargantuan, we have tiny. Who knew? Next slide, Len. Majestic is another word I would use for this trip. This is Mount Rainier. Very high, about 14,000 feet. They train on this for Everest. You can take a gondola up to the top of a ski lodge, and people sit along the top of this ski mountain in these chairs. There's a cliff over there, so you could sit on these apparently unstable chairs. My wife would not do it. So you have to have courage to go on a trip with me as well, because this might be a little scary for some Toastmasters. Next slide. You have to have a taste for the eclectic if you want to go on a road trip with me and my wife. This is in Pike's Market in Seattle. They chuck the fish there. It's a marketing gimmick. You buy the fish and they chuck it, and you get a video of it. And you catch the fish. So that's one thing I have there. But they also have all these flowers and markets. This is a gum wall. So you see this face that's smiling here? Already been chewed gum. Yes, Toastmasters. Very eclectic. A whole alley of gum. Yes, disgusting. My wife saw a smiley face. She took a picture of it. Next slide. And you also have to be artistic minded, because we do sometimes go to a museum or two. In this case, is Chichuli, a glass museum. I guess he's a world-renowned glass artisan from Tacoma. Next slide, Len. So stay tuned for your next trip coming from me so you can go on the Great Escape. Thank you, the Toastmasters.
All right. Our last speaker of the day is our newcomer, Mike Hayes, who is being evaluated by Steve Smith. So if Steve would come up and tell us about Mike's speech, what he knows.
Thank you. Today, Mike will be giving us his icebreaker, which has been stated is 4 to 6 minutes, but we don't usually stand on that. This is where it all starts. His job is to get up here and talk to us for the first time, to tell us about himself and find out just how much fun this really is. It becomes addictive, and you will find this out. So I can't wait to hear this. Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, Mike. Mike is doing his icebreaker today, as we know. His speech is titled About Me. Mike Hayes, About Me.
Good morning, everyone. I don't do a lot of speaking about myself. So as I thought about this, I decided the About Me title was building a social media page was the best way that I could list everything that I wanted to about me. So I took some notes and away we go. So first of all, when we build a social media page, obviously, hopefully we all know social media. I'm personally taking a short pause off of it, but I do have multiple platforms that I use. But we start with your name, your age, and your location. So my name is Mike, just so we know that. 42, live in Lockport. The next thing would be my family members. So I have a wife and 2 children, my wife Corey, and my children Sophia, who's 11, and Grayson, who's 8. They both just started school this week. Sophia's at Emmett Belknap, and Grayson is at Anna Merritt here in the city of Lockport. The next thing, of course, is your all-important profile picture. So that's a big decision when you're creating any type of media page. How do you want to have your face on your profile? Do you want the serious shot? Do you want one of Gerald's majestic, travel shots? What certain point in your life do you want memorized on your page? What's going to draw people in to look at you a little bit more? So my personal one on my Facebook page is my mom's wedding last year. Myself and my family all dressed up. We look really nice. Next, of course, we get into hobbies and interests. So with my family, we camp, we fish. We do a lot of different outside activities in the summer. I personally like cycling. Last year, I rode over 1,000 miles on my bike. This year, not so much. My longest rides have been 2 separate 65-mile rides that I've done. But it's my escape. It's my way of getting out, spend a few hours on a Saturday or Sunday morning out by myself. And then I come home, have breakfast, and we get on with our day. I do other exercise 5 to 6 days a week. Just something that I think helps keep me focused and helps me burn off some extra energy. I like to read, I like fiction, biographies. If anybody's looking for recommendation, one of the best biographies I've ever read was from Scott Kelly. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now, but he was a Navy pilot, became an astronaut, and spent a year on the International Space Station. It was very interesting to me. Also recently started to read historical fiction. So just a little bit about that. Also, after hearing Dave's conversation earlier about riding in a P-51, I enjoy airplanes and aviation. I've always been a fan. Last year at the Geneseo Air Show, I did take a ride on their C-47. P-51 was one of the planes for me. Whiskey 7, yep. Yep, it was a short half-hour ride, but it was absolutely amazing. Next on the list would, of course, be employment. So I work for Napa Auto Parts. I don't have a shirt that doesn't say Napa on it. Typically don't wear a shirt that doesn't say Napa on it anywhere because they send them to me for free. So it's nice. I'm a regional sales manager, so I cover Buffalo to northern Maine, down to Delaware and some of Pennsylvania. I have 9 people who report to me, and my job is to make sure that they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing every day as their manager. Have had that job for about 7 months now. Recently was one of the people that reports to me in the Buffalo area. So that's what I did and was promoted after about 9 years of doing that. Before that, I worked at Home Depot as a department manager for 3 years. So, and then of course, there's other things that fall in line after that that aren't interesting and don't matter, So, the last piece of this that I'll share is, of course, the random facts that people wouldn't think, right? I know how to juggle. I self-taught in probably 6th or 7th grade. I got, and I don't know if anybody remembers the Juggling for the Complete Klutz book, or the whatever for the Complete Klutz books that were out at that time. And they came with 3 bean bags and it taught you how to juggle. So I don't do it very well. I don't have a lot of practice, but I can still juggle. And Dave, your giant skunk weed, I do actually enjoy the smell of skunks. I don't want to be sprayed by one, but to get that little bit of scent in the air, it doesn't have the same effect on me. I actually enjoy the smell. So just 2 random facts about me. It's different, I know, but to me, it's okay. So, and that is everything that I would like to share this morning as I go through my random social media page. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. That was very entertaining. And I left my paperwork at the table. Timers report. Katie, how did we do?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. All of our contestants qualified today. I had technical difficulties with Les, sorry about that, but he, as a distinguished Toastmaster, DTM, hit right on the mark at 5:30. Gerald, oh, I said everybody qualified, but I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't even say that. Gerald, you went just over, and I might let you squeak through, but you're also a DTM, a distinguished Toastmaster, and you had such amazing slides. But you were at 7:36. Ouch. It
Oh,
was, God, I was like, just stop. You pulled the screen up with the ending, and I was like, don't even read it, just stop. But I wouldn't say that out loud. And so I'm sorry, but Gerald, you didn't qualify. And then our icebreaker today, Mike, great job, right in the middle at 5:39. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
thank you, Katie. Well, I guess it's time for our evaluators. Ryan, are you ready for your evaluation of Les? Yes,
Good
he
morning.
is. There he goes.
Hang on. I got the pop-up. Stand by one. Okay. I am here. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Les for jumping in at the last moment. I will do my best based on your speech. And as has already been stated, you are a distinguished Toastmaster. This was a well put together speech. I think the topic is relevant to everyone at almost all times, and you really hit the nail on the head that as we progress in our Toastmaster journeys, there are a lot of changes, and there are a lot of very small, not necessarily individually noticeable pieces that come together, but in your second speech, there's a few less of those ums, ahs, etc. In your third, even fewer. And I think you really were able to go ahead and describe the benefit of mentoring. You hit the topic well. I would say the one thing that I always like to challenge people on is avoiding using the word very. If ever you can find a replacement, I would do so in the theme of Robin Williams. You did a really good job, though, staying in focus on the camera. Your gestures were visible. It's tough on Zoom to have not only the background look either neutral and or professional, and get yourself in a good profile shot and be able to capture the gestures. And I think you did a great job doing that. I would say the only other piece that I would look to challenge is on the structure itself. As you moved through different pieces, you kept going back and recapping, which in and of itself can be a good strategy for a speech. But it seemed like nearing the end, there were a couple of points at which you were looking for filler to add time and to make time. And so you went back to a couple of points you had previously made and just kind of recapped too frequently. It's hard to find more things to nitpick. I don't mean to do so, but I always like to provide constructive criticism here at the end. So Les, again, great job hitting on the points as far as the benefits of mentoring goes. Great job bringing in the start of your Toastmasters journey to where you are now. And again, really good relevancy. And at that, Madam Toastmaster, I will hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next evaluator is Mike Licata, evaluating Dr. Gerald Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Dr. Stevens. Your experiences, and every time you go on a trip, I actually anticipate your next speech because I know it's going to be vastly entertaining. I know you're going to provide us with a lot of information, and your enthusiasm towards your experiences comes through in your speeches. So I want to say first that start off with that. And the second thing I do is I want to say thank you for stepping up today. I know as club president, being Toastmaster, stepping up as Toastmaster last week and speaking this week is a lot of work. So I want to say thank you for stepping up and being such a great leader and such a great example for our club going forward. That being said, the speech, and this isn't an indictment against you, it's more against the indictment of international and just the way Pathways works. We knew your preparation, so I have to give you a little bit of credit too, because you did the speech as somebody that you're introducing yourself to us for the first time through a lot of your experiences, through the technology, through your tremendous ability to move the lectern out of the way, stand out in front of the microphone, and connect with the audience really well, which is the point of the speech. The but being is you're supposed to give this to an unfamiliar audience, and we're all, I mean, that's the indictment against international versus your ability to connect, because your sincerity comes through in your speech. You did a great job as a guinea pig to illustrate how to use a nice slideshow. You were smart enough to use this monitor instead of the big screen. So kudos for that, because I think that's a great job, because it becomes very, very distracting if you decided to look over there instead of looking over here like you did, because it's easier to look at this screen than it is to look up there. And when we first started the setup, as a credit to Len, as a credit to Larry too, when they set it up, this makes our job so much easier, but it's still something to get used to. I know with the hybrid that you did a great job. I would watch your time, because the other part of it, we all get stuck doing it. We all do it. We all start to find the timer. And once we see that yellow light, there is panic sets in. And I felt that the speech ended rather abruptly, because it ended with the slideshow. So I would go back and watch the time, go back and watch the speech, and figure out ways where you can kind of cut parts of the speech, or you could speed things up. Overall, I thought it was a great speech. There is a lot to look forward to every time you go on a trip. So I have to give you a lot of credit, and I want to say thank you again for stepping in. And that is the end of my evaluation. And
Thank you, Mike. And our final evaluator is Stephen Smith, evaluating Mike Hayes and his icebreaker.
Thank you. I love evaluating icebreakers. We all did an icebreaker at one point in time, and we all have wonderful fond memories of them. Well, maybe not so much, but it is a starting point, as it is with Mike. His first time up here speaking, his assignment was simply to tell us about himself. And he said he doesn't like to talk about himself. Well, I didn't either when I started this, so I can relate to that. But then he likened it onto making a media page. That was a great analogy. And he proceeded to tell us quite a bit about himself. He gave us a nice snapshot of who he is, about his life, about how he likes to cycle, told us about his wife and 2 children, their ages. And then he started talking about his interest, biography he read, and why. That tells us a lot about who he is, what he's interested in reading. He did a couple of things I liked. During the speech, he actually stopped and talked to Dave Licata. Now, that's a great tool to use during a speech. If you can address something specific to one person, it helps bring everybody into the speech. Now, I like that. And he did started out using some hand gestures, but he was also doing some hand clasping. Now, we all try to watch that. Now, I want to say, using your hand gestures is a great way to use up nervous energy, but you have to use it to emphasize your words. Keep your hands going. It takes care of nervous energy, keeps you focused. The other technique he used that I like, he asked a question. Does anybody remember that book about juggling that he talked about? That's great. Ask the audience a question. That's a great way to maintain their attention. The other thing that you can do to help maintain attention is use a little vocal variety. Vary your words. You did a little bit, but you can improve on that. But overall, for a first speech, I thought he did a very excellent job, and I thank you for having the guts to get up here and do that. Madam Toastmaster.
Let's see, the time is 8:02, correct? I forgot to bring my phone today. But a timer's report, yes. Timer's report, Katie.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. All three did qualify. Ryan at 2:29, Mike just with the buffer at 3:15, and Steve at 2:05. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Now back to my theme of the day. National Buffalo Bills Day. Along with National Dave Licata Day, which relates to the Buffalo Bills. It wouldn't be a National Dave Licata Day without the Buffalo Bills, I don't think. I mean, what would be the use of, we can't see his memorabilia or his 46 years of tickets. Not that the last couple of years actually are tickets. 48 years. Coming up on 50. Oh, what a. Hopefully it's not such a head wringing thing as he's doing right now at that point. So I think it's time to have some reports. Nancy, how about an report?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Wow, that's an onomatopoeia. That wasn't a pause. Anyway, I didn't hear any ahs or ums, just a few so's from our evaluators, table topics, and a couple of the speakers. Mike, you had a few so's and ums, but it's going to be very easy for you to tackle them because your flow is very good and very consistent. Other than that, I think everybody did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Len, can you give us a report on our grammar today?
Thank you, Jill. I must confess, I didn't hear a lot of the grammar today. I was distracted with technical issues. But what I did hear, first off, Jackie said, never turned out good. I think you meant to say well. I'm pretty sure you did. You're pretty good with your grammar. And then toward the end of the meeting today, Steve said very excellent. You can say very good or you can say excellent, but putting in extra varies doesn't really have the effect that we want it to. It's superfluous in a lot of cases. That's all I caught. Everybody take care in your grammar. It's important. It gets noticed. Madam Toastmaster.
Our tech and gesture master, Dave. How crazy did we get? No. You're not tag teaming it this week.
No.
You gotta do it all by yourself.
Normally I do like to work alone. Jill, you're really getting good at this. You were centered marvelously between the banner and the flag, and you did a very nice job. And this is so minor, but it's just a little thing to remember. When you had to leave the lectern to go fetch a schedule or your agenda, that was a bit awkward. But other than that, a great job. Kate Orr's got it all figured out. She's centered nice in front of her camera. And she has a gift. I think this Zoom thing is easy for Kate. Mike Florio was centered, solid there in the middle of the shot. And Nancy Rose had nice eye contact today. Len Thornton, when he came up the first time to explain his role, I wanted to take some points off because he put his hand in his pocket, but then I remembered if I was to go to the White House and look at the presidential portraits, about half of them were standing there with their hands in their pockets, so we'll let that go. Dr. Gerald Stevens once again proved that he's indeed our instructor, and that's when he started. But then he came out with the microphone and he stood there and he did a fine job. This is a little aside because I'm so goofy and my memory is so long. Next time you do a slideshow, you're going to have to go down to that amazing store in East Aurora with all the toys. You're going to have to get one of those little froggy clickers. So you can just go click, click. Because there was a comic on Ed Sullivan that did that, you know. Who? Thank you very much. Marty was centered as well. Nancy did a nice job with the eye contact. Margot Sue, she signs my paycheck. She did a great job. Jackie, a nice bit of theater today. It was like Father Toner was directing you. You did great. It is tough. You know, you hear about the men just show up, we throw on that white jacket, that lousy bow tie, and sit down and get our picture for the senior picture. But the women, that's tough for the women. Mike Licata, good eye contact with the people in the room and also with the people on Zoom. So he did both. Ryan, you had good use of your hands. And this is a little aside. You have the boat business, you have the captain's beard, and we're just wondering when the Toastmaster cruise will be. Thank you. Les Robinson. See, I think Les looks a little bit too relaxed, but that's just me. But he's just excellent. And being cornered kind of bothers me, but I'll get over it. But he had good hands. And naturally, I'd be the first one to criticize and speak. Oh, I mean evaluate. We never said crit that word. I would be the first one to evaluate the fact that he didn't stand, because I prefer when they stand. But then I remembered Les is so tall, he'd have to duck to get in the shot. Oh, page flip, page standby. D. Smith, good eye contact, both room and Zoom, great hands, but you did forget to protect the lectern when you kind of strolled off a little bit early there. Mike Hayes, nice big gestures. Now, you got a great voice because you were way the hell back. You were way back there, and I said, this isn't going to work. But then I said, no, I can hear every word he's saying. So that was great. And once again, to my new tired cliche, good work in the room and the Zoom. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Man of the Day. We'll make you get tired of this observance before the end of the day. Oh, he's already got a text saying how much. Yes. Steve hasn't gotten any text saying how much they enjoyed his newspaper article yet. Sorry. Well, I haven't heard it going beep. So maybe you turned it down. No. Oh, that's, well, okay. Quizmaster and Wordmaster, I think are all we got left to do. So Quizmaster, Mike Florio, what have you got for us?
Madam Toastmaster, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Let's see. Today, Jill went over a bunch of national holidays for today. Can anybody name any of them that are for today? And I'm listening.
National Ampersand Day.
There you go. There's one of them.
Mike said National Literacy Day.
National Literacy Day. There's a couple more.
Pediatric Oncology Nurse Day.
Yep, there you
Yep.
go. And the bone cracker one.
Physical
Physical therapy day. Tomorrow, what animal are we putting on a pedestal?
Teddy bears, yes.
Teddy bear, correct.
Nancy,
All right.
teddy bears.
What does Margot use these national holidays as a tool for?
Selling wine sales.
Sell.
Yeah.
Go Margot. Jackie, what did all the girls wear in the photo? What type of jewelry? They all had their cross.
I think it was all the same cross, was it? They
Yeah.
just kept changing it from person to person.
All the
Just
same
like the
cross.
drape was probably changed from person to person too.
Mike Licata, what kind of day does he promote? What kind of national day?
Yes.
National Snow Day. Because his birthday is in what month? December. I hope. His dad didn't answer that one. Les, what was the highest office that Les held as a Toastmaster?
Area Governor, which is now called Area Director.
Area Governor, that's right. Gerald Stevens had 3 words for big that were synonyms. Can you name them? Gigantic, I heard.
Gargantuan.
Gargantuan. Enormous. Those were the 3. Thank you very much. What was the name of the lake in Seattle that his wife was in front of?
Ooh. Crescent?
There you go. I live on Crescent Drive. I had to mention.
Oh.
All right. Hold on. Turning the page.
There's plenty of time.
Mike Hayes. How many children does he have? And for extra bonus points, what are their names?
2. I think 8 and 14.
Sophia.
8 and 11.
And
Starts with a Grayson.
starts with a G. Grayson, right? That's a very pretty name. Both are. What's his favorite way to stay in shape?
Bicycling.
Bicycling. How many miles has he logged? 1,000. That's pretty impressive. And where does he work right now?
Napa.
Napa is a regional sales manager. 9 people report to the guy. That's pretty good. But now, last and final question. This is a very important one. By how much are the Bills going to win tonight over the Rams? Oh, 10. We got 10. We got 10 over there. Can I get
10, I heard a 14.
14.
14.
All right, go Bills. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you, Mike. And now our general evaluator is here to let us know how I horribly did.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I think you did a wonderful job in my observance as general evaluator this morning. Meeting started on time. You filled the roles. You had a little bit of housekeeping to take care of, which was fine. You protected the lectern. Dave mentioned one small area of improvement, but I think you did a fine job protecting the lectern and making sure you release control with the handshake and you regain control with the handshake from the roll holders. One thing that I would like to see all of us do, and I try to do this, some of you may remember, and I know Margot likes to do it also. There's a little format in the old system, in the legacy system it's called, and it's called introducing the speaker. Not only with the project they're working on and the title, but dig a little deeper and tell us three things: why this speaker, why this speech, and why now. And it doesn't have to be in that order, but I like to do it because it not only leads into the speech, but it sets up the speaker for success. It just gets the wheels turning in the speaker's head, gives them an extra 30 seconds or a minute to breathe and to focus on what they're going to say. But those three things, if we can all try to introduce the speaker before we say what the title is and before the speaker comes up, we say, this morning we have Mike Hayes. He's giving us icebreaker. What a special day. And why this speech? Because it's his first speech in the project he's working on. And why now? Not to keep repeating, but for a person that's given a few speeches, you get the gist. Why this speaker? Why this speech? And why now? Let's see. Call for reports. Thank you. Made my job a little easier this morning. Excellent. We're going to end on time. Well done, Jill. And moving on to the evaluators, Ryan, Mike Licata, and Steve Smith all did a wonderful job in my observance as general evaluator this morning. And they all used the sandwich approach. And what I would continue to promote with our evaluators is to continue building that sandwich. Today, I think we had a sandwich, but I think we could make a hoagie next time with not only telling the speaker, oh, room for improvement, how to improve, but show them. Just think about those things, telling and then showing. That's just a takeaway I always got from evaluating. And I think everyone did a wonderful job in the roles as evaluation. And I'm going to control the meeting back over to our wonderful Toastmaster of the day, Jill Roaring.
Thank you, Marty. The one problem with making a hoagie is the time limitation. Most people can't eat a hoagie in 3 minutes. Might be able to make one, but not eat one. Steve, I don't think you can even eat one in 3 minutes. Don't look at me like that. Yeah. Except for maybe some of these people that are competition eaters. But that gets pretty gross if you ask me. All right. Dr. Gerald, if you want to come up, we will do our Wordmaster. We did not do Wordmaster. I almost forgot to observe the observance of the Wordmaster. Write it down, that I just used it twice there.
Jill snuck it in twice at the end, Marty twice. And that was all I heard after our table topics. Did anyone else use it? Did you hear it once? By who? Could put you on the spot. Anyway, have a good evening. There you go. Jill's the winner, so have a good day.
That's only fair that I'm the winner, seeing as I was up here the most. All right, Dr. Gerald. Bring the bucket up and we'll announce our winners. If there's any announcements too.
Absolutely.
Oh, there
You
are.
want to do the honors?
I will do the honors. Okay. Best table topics, Jackie. With your wonderful speech about school pictures. Best evaluator, Ryan. Ribbon for you, Ryan. And best speaker, Mike Hayes. Congratulations.
Uh, 497.
497. Who's the winner?
Oh, Nancy Rose, the last person here. Yay.
We will get her winning half the money on the table.
All right. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to you now and let you take over.
Thank you, Jill.
Yep.
Appreciate everything you do, Jill. I always like to give the roles for next week, so a little bit of a heads up. The Toastmasters, Tracy Farrell, so let's reach out to her. There are a couple, Sylvia, you're a speaker. You're not a speaker, okay. So you cannot speak next week. Michael Licata is the alternate speaker, I suspect. Joe is not, he's back at school, and also Natalie Kurtz. So we'll need a couple of volunteers for speakers. There's gonna be some holes in the schedule for sure. Yeah, I'll probably.
Interested in joining, I can get a hold of Mark. I'll try to get a hold of him today. And once he joins, he may be available to speak next week. I'll touch base with the postmaster.
All right, thank you for recruiting Marty. Not only recruiting a new member, but also recruiting a speaker possibly for next week. Maybe give an icebreaker or something like that so we can get to know him. So we'll have to fill in some roles here. I can help wherever needed. It could be speaker, could be evaluator, whatever's needed. Speaking opportunities are available. So keep that in mind. Okay, we do have some announcements, I believe. I said earlier that dues are due. So for those that joined late, that is the second announcement for that. And you received an invoice. I'm going to request that the invoice go out again. That if Sylvia has some time to do that, that would be great, just in case you missed the email. In addition to that, the new schedule is going to be coming out soon. Len, do you want to talk about that or?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be sending out a blank schedule, possibly something new, a form where you can just check boxes on what role you'd like to fill in upcoming meetings and or whether or not you're available for any role at that meeting. Please respond quickly. I have a short time to construct a schedule. It's a somewhat tedious process, and when I don't get input from people and then we end up with all these gaps in the schedule, it kind of disrupts the flow of the meeting. So please respond. Any dates you won't be available and any preferences for when you want to be Toastmaster or speak or any other role. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
We may have another announcement from our social coordinator / VP of Ed, Kate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I sure do. There's always something to be announced. For anyone who hasn't heard, October 2nd is our fall picnic. Instead of the summer picnic, we opted this year for a fall picnic. It's October 2nd from 1 to 4 at Margim Manor. We'll take a photo right in the middle around 2 or 2:30. It's a potluck picnic, and I will send an email out at some point, but friends are welcome, friends and family as always. And then I have 2 asks. It's for the Celtic Festival next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. I could use a few more parking flaggers. Last year, some Toastmasters earned funds towards Toastmasters by volunteering, and the gaps that we have for that will be parking flaggers on Saturday. That's September 17th. We have shifts from 8 a.m. to noon or noon to 4. On Sunday, we're covered. The Masons have Sunday covered, but we do have a few openings on Saturday. And then the second ask is teardown help on Monday. Monday, September 19th. It's my birthday. All I want for my birthday is a smooth teardown. If you could come on out, we'll be doing it from probably 9 to 5. Come for an hour, come for a couple hours, come all day. And the hours also earn funds for Toastmasters. And then just 2 side notes quickly connecting to that. Len, if you could let me know about that TV, where I can pick it up, et cetera, et cetera. I know we were in touch about it. And then Gerald, I don't know if you need more coverage for the Toastmasters recruitment table there, or if you're all set. I figured I would just shout out now. So that also gets you entry into the festival, and have a great time. We've got 5 music stages going. We'll probably have 10,000 people. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
no problem. Thank you, Kate, for all you do. If someone wants to come sit with me at the table, that would be amazing. I'll be there 8 hours, so come by, sit with me, bring booze. That would be awesome. Luckily, I can be a little more entertained. So if you're at the Celtic Festival, stop by. There'll be an empty chair, at least one available for you to sit and hang out, at least for a few minutes, and possibly rest your weary feet. I do have coverage, Kate, but I could always use another couple people to help. I don't have any other announcements. Steve does, though. Come on up, Steve.
Guess what? It's time for another star search this Saturday night. Now, if you haven't been down there, you're running out of time. We only have 2 more. Now, it should be a nice night to be outside. We'll have Jupiter and Saturn, which are great showpieces in the telescope. We'll have a moon to look at, even though it's a full moon. But I'm encouraging you all to come out and check this out before it's too late.
What time?
Well, the sun is setting about 4 to 8 right now, which means shortly after 8 o'clock, we'll be looking at things. And it's at the Kruger Park in Wilson, where the Little League Diamonds are, right on Route 18. Saturday night. Be there.
Take advantage of our astronomer and his wealth of knowledge, for sure. Unless there's any other announcements, I see no hands. Meeting adjourned.